Well, the dust has settled on Duskmourn, and thankfully the prices have started to kind of push themselves into a area where we can actually understand what the set's going to cost. And as per usual, because of that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about all the cards I think you should be picking up from Duskmourn that are under $1. Stuff that, well, one or two of these cards is like a couple cents over $1, but I have to talk about those ones. I can't stop myself from talking about them, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when I get to those. That said, I think that buying sealed product is a mistake for most people. I think that buying Magic the Gathering cards should be cheap and affordable. And since most people play Commander, let's go ahead and start with the commanders from this new set that you should be picking up that are under $1. At 42 cents, Arabella Abandoned Doll is a new tokens commander who will give you tons of life gain and burn as long as you are playing 1/1 and 2/2 tokens. Mariana Vendrell at 16 cents is the Wooburg commander for the new door mechanic, letting you lock and unlock doors at will so that you can get a double up on multiple effects from the doors. And we've got some rooms to talk about when we get to that section of the video as well. Nashi Searcher in the Dark is a new Auras commander, and there's certainly other ways to play Nashi, but that's how I'm going to play Nashi. Anytime Nashi deals combat damage to a player, mill that many cards and put as many enchantments or legendaries from that set into your hand. I think playing this as a Dimir Voltron deck is going to be the way to go. Nico Light of Hope is another banger from the new set, giving copies decks a new way to play copy abilities, letting you create shard tokens and then exiling any non-legendary creature from that you control and making all the tokens copies of that creature that you got rid of, and then blinking that creature back onto the board afterwards. Abuse creatures that have amazing attack triggers, static abilities, as well as enter the battlefield triggers to get the most out of Nico. Toby Beastie Befriender is a new blink commander that creates a 4/4 white beast anytime it touches the board. Just flicker the ability over and over, flicker Toby over and over again to give all your creature tokens flying, and they will be 4/4 white beasts with flying that can aim their damage at any opponent who needs to die. Swarm Reaver is a great new insect commander that isn't actually an insect, letting you create a couple tokens when it comes out and also giving all of your insects and spiders 1/1 and Death Touch. Mind Skinner is a new, it looks like a mill commander, but we're actually going to put in a deck that instead, makes its damage unpreventable and then gives it double strike so that it can hit somebody for damn near lethal damage instantly in a game of Commander. Just use any ability that says that damage can't be prevented this turn in any way, shape, or form, and Mind Skinner, instead of milling people, will instead deal commander damage to them like normal. Jolly Balloons Man is another commander for copies decks that will make 1/1 red balloon copies that will be sacrificed at the end of the turn, perfect for modular strategies. Vilgar Valgavoth Sentinel is a new Enchantress commander. Anytime your enchantments or rooms touch the board, surveil 2, then afterwards make every opponent discard a card, then after that get a recursion ability. There's a lot of ways you can make this commander busted, and I believe that y'all will be able to figure out a bunch of ways to do that. Winter Misanthropic Guide is a new group slug commander, giving everybody some draw, but also making their hand size, you remember that blue Jin Gitaxis that cut everybody's hand size by 7? She's basically going to be able to do that in most situations. Zimone All Questioning is a favorite of mine from the new set. She has a landfall ability that creates a token with as many 1/1 counters as you have lands, but with 2 caveats. 1, the token is legendary, and 2, the 1/1 counters equal the amount of lands you have only if you have a prime number of lands, which is one of the most unique mechanics I've ever seen in Commander, and I am ready for it. That said, let's move on to the different win cons that are in this set for under $1 that you can use. Undead Sprinter is one of my favorite new ones. Trample, haste, and you can cast it from your graveyard if a non-zombie died this turn. So you're going to use a Blight Mound along with this, so that anytime the Undead Sprinter is sacrificed to, say, a Phyrexian Arena, you will generate 1 mana, and also a token from the Blight Mound. Sacrifice the Blight Mound to generate 1 more mana, and now you fulfilled the need of sacrifice sacrificing a non-zombie this turn. Now you can cast the Undead Sprinter for 2 mana and rinse and repeat the process over and over and over again. It works like a reassembling skeleton, but in Rakdos Aristocrat decks, this will give you more access to these infinite loop combos. Leyline of Transformation is a new conspiracy or Maskwood Nexus, and it is good to see more of these in the game. Leyline of Mutation gives a free, well, kind of free, a super discounted cast on Big Eldrazi. Just play this in Wooburg Eldrazi, and, you know, nobody will like you. Then you can play Doomsday Excruciator, which is a mill deck's best friend, milling everybody down to their last 6 cards, and then all you have to do is cast literally any good mill spell, and suddenly they will die. Then we have Valgavoth's Onslaught. Manifest Dread X times, and then put X 1/1 counters on those creatures. I play this in my Cmon Manifest Dread deck, and I think that you should play this in any deck that cares about putting cards face down. Any morph, any cloak, or any megamorph, or any Manifest Dread deck wants the ability to play this as their top end card, spawning a fuck ton of manifested cards. Then we have Ghost Vacuum. This is not a win con. We are moving past the win cons to other specific things, and Ghost Vacuum is a repeatable crime that also gives you a win con strapped on the back end, being able to summon every single creature that it exiled over the course of a game. Cursed Recording allows you to double up on all of your spell casts until you hit 7 instants or sorceries cast. Once you're done doubling up on those, it'll try to burn you for 20, but if you play any kind of damage redirect abilities, then you can turn the Cursed Recording into a bomb aimed at any opponent. Moving on to draw spells, Grab the Prize and Disturbing Mirth are new Tormented Voice and Thrill of Possibility style cards, letting you discard or sacrifice cards in order to draw extra cards. But Disturbing Mirth gets to be a permanent on the battlefield that you can use more often afterwards. Entity Tracker is a new enchantress, letting you draw cards anytime a room unlocks or an enchantment touches the board, and I believe this is the first blue enchantress we've ever had. Fanatic of the Harrowing is a new amazing blink card, making every player discard a card and you get to loot anytime this card touches the board. Blink it multiple times to drain your opponents of resources while keeping your hand at a net 0. Then Paranormal Analyst allows Manifest Dreads to get all of the cards back that have been thrown to the graveyard with the Manifest Dread ability. Peer Past the Veil is a great new wheel we have access to that discards your hand and then lets you draw X cards, where X is the card types in your graveyard. That is a fantastic new ability to have access to for any Corvold the Gleeful Glutton or Disa style decks that like lots of card types in the grave. Then we have Silent Hull Creeper, a new looter ill core that can draw you cards or put counters on itself or become a copy of another creature you control after it's hit multiple times. Run this in your Gaunty decks, run this in any deck that wants to have a lot of little creatures, punching people, or cares about modified creatures. Oblivious Bookworm is, it's Simic Draw. Moving on, Mariana Vendrell's Grimoire has the ability to draw you 5 cards once it is on the board if you cast it. You have no maximum hand size, and you don't lose the game while this is on the board, but whenever you lose life, you'll discard that many cards, and whenever you gain life, you'll draw that many cards. Run this in an Azorius deck to make your life total 100. Then we have Shroud Stomper, one of the best new cards for reanimation strategies, as it gives you the ability to draw a card and burn everybody if it touches the board. If you have a reanimation or blink deck, this enter the battlefield effect can become very hard to deal with very quickly, as it will put you inches ahead of your opponent, but you'll be able to do it at sprints at a time, as long as you're able to recur this ability multiple times. And if you got a Panharmonicon on the board, then things just get really nutty with Shroud Stomper. It's far more powerful than what is written on the card, I promise you. As for decks that care about keywords and anthems, we have Enduring Courage, another way to give all of our creatures 2-0 and haste, and of course, it will replace itself if it dies, because it is one of the new glimmers. Leyline of Hope is a new staple for angel decks, especially in Pioneer. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1, and if you have 7 or more life, you get to give all of your creatures 2-2. 7 or more life total above your starting total, specifically. Reluctant Role Model says, at the beginning beginning of your second main phase. If it is tapped, put a flying, lifelink, or 1/1 counter on it. If it or another creature dies, you can move those counters around. Yes, this is a new way to give 1/1 counter decks more stuff to chew on, and it should go in your modular decks if you are building them. As for ramp pieces, enchantment decks get Inquisitive Glimmer, another way to lower the cost of their enchantments. Creeping Peeper says that you can add blue mana and spend it to cast any enchantment spell, unlock a door, or turn a permanent face up, which means it can be used for a variety of decks. Then we have Twitching Doll, a new mana rock in green that adds 1 mana of any color, and then if you are in a Golgari Aristocrats deck, you can sacrifice the Twitching Doll in order to make as many green spiders as you put counters on the card, and you add a counter onto it every time you tap the Twitching Doll. If you're playing a Golgari Aristocrats deck, this is probably an auto include now. We also have a couple recursion cards. Come Back Wrong destroys a creature and then gives that creature to you, letting you return it to your battlefield and use it for some ability. At 3 mana, that is a steal of an ability, and at 69 cents, that is a steal of a card. For 10 cents, Under the Skin lets you manifest Dread, and you can return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. It is wonderful in those face-down decks. We've got a bunch of removal to talk about next because this deck was filled with all kinds of it. Break Down the Door blows up artifacts or enchantments or manifest Dread. Cathartic Parting allows you to shuffle an artifact or an enchantment into a person's library. Drag to the Roots is a new way to have a 2 mana removal spell that can blow up any non-land permanent as long as you've got Delirium. Exercise can exile an artifact, enchantment, or a creature. Live or Die can blow up a creature or reanimate something. Insidious Fungus is a new way to blow up artifacts or enchantments on a creature in the set. Final Vengeance exiles a creature at the cost of a creature or enchantment you control. Fear of Burning Alive is a house in this set, burning everybody when he touches the board, and if you've got Delirium, he also starts sniping creatures. Nowhere to Run strips your opponent's creatures of hexproof and indestructible. This is a new black staple. It also gives a creature -3/-3, which also will get rid of their indestructible ability. Sorry, it doesn't strip them of indestructible, it gets rid of an indestructible creature with its negative ability. I misspoke. Sue me on that one. Sheltered by Ghost says enchant creature you control. When Sheltered by Ghost enters, exile a non-land permanent an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. The enchanted creature gets 1/0, lifelink, and ward 2. This is a no-brainer in Enchantress decks by far. Trapped in the Screen is a new Oblivion Ring style card with the benefit of having ward 2 on it to protect it from removal. Unable to Scream is a new Frogify style card that is just wonderful. Enchant creature for 1 mana, make it lose all abilities, make it a toy artifact with power and toughness 0/2, and if it's face down, it cannot be turned face up, which is just a power creep on the Frogify ability. Waltz of Rage is a great new removal spell as well. It's effectively a board wipe. Make one of your creatures deal damage equal to its power to each other creature, and then until end of turn, whenever a creature you control dies, exile the top card of your library, and you can play them until the end of your next turn. It's impulse draw and a board wipe. What's not to love? Reanimation and Blink decks will love Vile Mutilator, a flying trample creature that makes everybody sacrifice a non-token creature and a non-token enchantment. That is the most brutal Fleshbag Marauder style ability I've seen in a long time. Untimely Malfunction is a bolt bend that also blows up artifacts or makes your creature pseudo unblockable. It costs $1.14, but I had to talk about it very desperately. Unidentified Hover Ship enters the battlefield, exiling any creature with toughness 5 or less, which is already great for 3 mana, but if this leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner will manifest Dread. This is not the strongest version of this ability. It is not a Skyclave apparition, but it is still a fantastic budget include for most people. And it's $1.12, but I absolutely had to talk about the new Withering Torment, a new Feed the Swarm style card Black has access to that can blow up enchantments or creatures at the cost of 2 life. This is 1 mana more for an almost power crept Feed the Swarm because it is an instant speed card with a far easier to stomach drawback. Also, I have to save the most complicated for last. Let's talk about the new door mechanic. So, the Rooms enchantment subtype is a new thing for this set, where each enchantment has 2 abilities on it, and you pay mana to unlock the side that you want, and you can pay more mana to unlock both sides at a later point. It comes down as whatever side you choose in the beginning. So if you cast Defiled Crypt for 3 mana, it comes down as Defiled Crypt, and you can pay 1 mana to unlock Cadaver Lab, or vice versa. This is the first one I want to talk about, though. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, make a 2/2 black horror enchantment creature token once per turn. This is a great ability on its own, but the Cadaver Lab letting you return any creature card from your graveyard to your hand afterwards means that this is effectively a 1 mana recursion piece, a Raise Dead, that also has a token spawner built in. Dazzling Theater and Prop Room is another budget room we have access to. This one says creature spells you cast have Convoke. I don't care about the other side. The other side lets you untap every creature you control during each other player's untap step, but the fact that it gives all of your creatures Convoke is already enough for me. I am sold. Central Elevator and Promising Stairs is the next one. When you unlock the elevator, search your library for a room card, and the Promising Stairs has a win con built into it if you have 8 or more doors unlocked on rooms. Bottomless Pool and Locker Room is a new Bident of Thassa style card. Whenever one of your creatures deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. It also has the ability to remove a card from the board with its Bottomless Pool ability. Ghostly Dancers enters the battlefield, returning any enchantment you control or unlocking a door of a room you control. It is already great for that, but it also has the eerie ability to spawn tokens anytime you unlock a room or whenever you play an enchantment. This is a wonderful supplement to all of your enchantment room synergies. Ghostly Keybearer also, when it deals combat damage, you can unlock any locked door of a target room you control. This will supplement all of these next cards we're going to talk about, like Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo. Greenhouse lets all of your lands tap for any color, and the Gazebo lets you mill 4 cards and return 2 permanents from among them to your hand. Effectively green draw and also mana filtering. Then we have the Moldering Gem and Wait Room. The Gem is a Rampant Growth. Searches your library for a land and puts it on the battlefield tapped, and the Wait Room lets you manifest Dread. The Misty Salon lets you generate 2 red mana at the beginning of your main phase, and the Misty Salon itself will create a blue spirit token, where X is the number of unlocked doors you have. Play this only in a doors deck, I think. Then we have the Roaring Furnace. When you unlock this door, deal damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to any creature, and then the Steaming Sauna lets you have no maximum hand size and a Phyrexian Arena style effect. Restricted Office lets you blow up all creatures with power 3 or greater, and the Lecture Hall gives all of your other permanents hexproof. A privileged position and a board wipe together is a weird combination, but I'll take it. And finally, the Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber. This is the last one that I want to talk about. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card with the Unholy Annex, and if you control the demon, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Otherwise, you lose 2 life. This is a fully power crept Phyrexian Arena to me. The Ritual Chamber also is here, and whenever you unlock this door, you make a demon token with flying. Play this in a demon tribal deck, and you're gonna have a great time. Or just play it in an aristocrat-style deck as a Phyrexian Arena replacement, and it'll do better than the arena as it generates you the card you need faster. It replaces itself instantly while also giving you access to a token. And that was a lot to get through, but those are all of my budget picks for Duskmourn. Aside from a couple cards, everything was about $1 or less, and I think these are things that you definitely should be trying to grab from Duskmourn itself. It is a fantastic set filled with all kinds of great stuff, and thankfully, all of the prices on this set are dropping the longer we go. That said, my throat hurts. I need a lozenge. Thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravelern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Mark Anthony, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Curatorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.